Hey guys, Joe from J&M Concrete here. This week we are doing a sidewalk and a set of steps behind a house. Pretty straightforward, but with a lot of little details. The sidewalk curves the whole time. The steps are angled off of a wonky wall that's there, and we're having to follow a sidewalk that's there. Stick around for the excavation, the prep, my favorite part, the pour. See you then, guys.
We ended up starting this job on a Monday officially, but the Wednesday before that Monday, we had an extra day due to weather, and we decided to come to this project and remove the flagstone, take our time, pick it all up, and then toss it in our truck here. It was quite a bit, actually. It took us a minute, but we were glad we had the Bobcat with us because that makes it way easier, especially here on these steps. There were some really large flagstone pieces that were part of these steps here. So it really helped having the Bobcat to pick this stuff up and then carry it to the front. And as long as I'm being careful and I got plenty of room to work with it, I don't need those material mats or machine mats that I usually have when I'm pouring. So that made it a lot easier being able to do that. And then framing this is a whole nother thing, because anyone that does this knows any material flexible enough to get this kind of curve in here is also a little bit too flexible. So you have to put in a lot of stakes, or else when you pour, the form will bow out a little bit. So you have to put a whole bunch of stakes. And even then, when you do it perfect, you'll notice once you pour through, like, oh, it's moved a little quarter-inch there or a quarter-inch here. But and it didn't help that we had a lot of sprinkler lines going through this property. One good thing that came from here is when they originally did the flagstone, they brought in a bunch of rotobase. So there was like a 10-inch base here, which is great for the sidewalk. So we scraped a little bit off to make room for our forms, compacted it. It was a great base for what we were doing, and we reused it. Once we got all our forms and stakes in, we noticed that everything in the yard was shooting towards this tree in the middle or the house in the background. It was kind of, water's going that way, so we had to curve it out and then slope it inward and then slope it towards the driveway. So it was a little funky. I wanted to make sure water didn't go up into this porch, but also turned back into the yard and didn't sit outside. So once we got the front prepped, we came in the next day and started working on the steps. The one thing I didn't like about this, because of the wall on either side and this sidewalk curve here that really isn't perfect. It looks perfect now since the grass is kind of that shape and the forms aren't in yet. But we divided all our forms perfectly, had our curves in, but the curve on that sidewalk wasn't really the kind of curve that the wood can now do. It was doing what the flagstone was doing, but not with the wood. So we had to kind of bow it out a little bit so that the concrete wasn't short of these pavers, but also wasn't like an inch over them. If they ever changed their mind to take them out, I wanted it to be just right on the edge as close as possible. And then it sloped up right there to the left randomly. So that's like a 4.5-inch step versus where the center is kind of where they're all equal. I think 6.25-inch steps. It made it really frustrating because we framed them perfect, but we had to bow it out just to cover that area a little bit, which messed it up some. But I mean, it's still going to do great as steps. They won't go anywhere for 10-20 years, but it is difficult trying to match up to other landscaping when you do this work, because if we come up short, they have to relay the whole walkway and it's a whole nother deal. So, but either way, it came out good.
¿Cuándo dijo vine de Twister? ¿No? ¿Cuándo?
I know what most people are thinking, should have used a pump. In reality, I think this was like maybe a yard and a half in these steps, and we had 4 guys, so they just changed between each 2-man group, and they would shovel it in. Eventually, once we got to the second step, the second last step, the buggy would just pour into it. And one thing that was a little annoying back here was having to make sure that everything was plasticed off. My wife took about an hour to do it herself. She covered everything around here, and she did an amazing job, because once we pulled off the plastic and the forms, there wasn't anything that was smudging the brick on either side, which we were very, very happy about. All in all, though, the finish went well. It was a little windy that day, and apart from using day 1 finishing aid, we don't use water, we don't bless the concrete, and this is color concrete, so you have to work with what's here. So I was glad that we had plenty of people, because these steps starting to set it up a little fast because of the heat and then the light breeze that was going on. All in all, we were very happy with how it came out, given the circumstances of like this walkway and the stuff in front.
Hey guys, pour went well. So we poured this at 7 in the morning, 4,000 microfiber. It is actually a color. If I recall, the color was either slate or smoke. They're basically identical. It's like concrete that has never dried and turned whitish. It stays like a darker color like this. This is watered, obviously. My wife is watering it, but it came out really nice. There's sprinkler lines crisscrossing here where the sidewalk was before, so I know we hit one there. We hit them all over the place. The customer is either going to do it themselves or have someone come in and fix the lines themselves. I don't do it because, you know, I got to drive the stakes into the ground, so I don't bill for that, so they can save some money there. But everything really went well. We covered it yesterday thinking it was going to rain or hail. Recently, weather changes the day of. It'll say it's going to rain really bad, so we plan for it, and then nothing happens. I think yesterday, the day of the pour, was the only day we didn't get any moisture, which is good because it was a color pour, and I went and covered it and everything, so if it would have came down, we would have been safe. So over here we have the set of steps. So the wonky thing about these steps, the walls on either side aren't perfectly even. This sidewalk here like goes up right there, so we followed that point where most people are gonna walk, and we divided from there to there, so when we walk we can go here. That's perfectly level. Check it out. Another thing, these are divided perfectly except for right there where we had to follow the curve of how that stone was cut, so that protrudes a little bit, so we had to follow that wall, that sidewalk. But all in all, this came out really, really nice. Same color as the front. I believe slate, smoke, I forget what it is. It's basically like a really dark gray color. It looks amazing either way. I think the customer made a good choice with it, but check it out, guys. Steps look good, sidewalk looks good. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe. See you then, guys. Bye-bye.